All right, welcome back to WMAC now with your host Chuck Sanderson. So this fight, this UFC fight, got announced a week and a half ago, and but I want to talk about it because I'm not a huge fan of this matchup, but I get why they did it. So we're going to talk about that anyway. UFC's booked a strawweight bout between Marina Rodriguez and Iasmin Lucindo. That's going to go down at UFC 307 on October 5th in Salt Lake City, Utah. Interesting city for the UFC to hold a pay-per-view event out there in Utah. Anyway, Rodriguez is ranked, I want to say number 6. Let me pull out my notes here. Yep, Rodriguez is ranked 6. Lucindo number 14. And that's the big thing I want to talk about with this, is that there is a big gap in the rankings here. And we'll get to it in a second, but first, let me talk about the stats on this one. Rodriguez coming in with a record of 17-4-2. Lucindo coming in at 16-5. Now, Rodriguez has lost 3 of her last 4. She's coming off a loss to Jessica Andrade via split decision. That was about 3 months ago. And then 7 months before that, she had that win over Michelle Watterson, where she just, beat her from pillar to post en route to a TKO. Lucindo is undefeated since losing in her UFC debut. Since then, she's defeated Brogan Walker, Polyana Viana, and then most recently, about 2.5 months ago, defeated Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Lucindo is the younger fighter, 22-37 for Rodriguez. Rodriguez is the taller fighter, 5'6", 168 centimeters to 5'3", 160 centimeters for Lucindo. The reach is reversed, though. 66 inches, 168 centimeters for Lucindo to 65 inches, 165 centimeters for Rodriguez. So Lucindo must just have really long arms. Anyway, let's talk about this. Why is a number 6 ranked fighter fighting a number 14 ranked fighter? Because I'm not a big fan of these big, huge jumps up in rankings for fighters. Because to me, if the lower ranked fighter wins, they almost always replace the fighter they beat in the rankings. And to me, that's really artificial feeling. Like, you might have beat the number 6 ranked fighter, but does that necessarily make you the number 6 ranked fighter? Does that automatically make you better than everyone ranked 13-7? No. That's why I don't like these jumps, because they're artificial, and they're usually made at a certain timing for the UFC to push certain younger fighters ahead of, their peers, and give them particularly favorable matchups. So that's why I'm not a fan of them. But then I take another look at this, and you look at most of the fighters around Marina Rodriguez. So one above her is Lemos. She's just coming off a loss. Up above her is number 4, Jessica Andrade. She has a flyweight fight booked. Then you go down below Rodriguez and look at everyone. 7 is Dern. She has a fight booked. 8 is Amanda Hebos. I don't think she has a fight booked, but I think I believe that would be a rematch. Yeah, that would be a rematch. Got Angela Hill. I believe she has a fight coming up. Godinez. That's one we actually haven't seen yet, but Godinez has a fight, I believe, this weekend as I record this. Tabitha Ricci, that's too big of a jump too, although you could probably justify it more than you can number 14. So yeah, most of the fights surrounding Marina Rodriguez are either rematches that probably no one really wants to see right now, or it's too soon, or they have fights booked. So Marina Rodriguez really doesn't have anyone around her to fight right now, which is a shame, because that to me is a problem with UFC's matchmaking. But it also does tell you a lot that Marina Rodriguez has fought practically everyone in the strawweight rankings right now. So while I'm not a fan of these big jumps in rankings, and certainly Iasmin Lucindo has not done anything to deserve this chance yet. I mean, I'm a Kowalkiewicz fan for life, but beating the 2024 version of Kowalkiewicz certainly doesn't mean that you're like on the come up. So while I don't like it, and it's certainly not deserved, like I understand it because they're in between a rock and a hard place with Marina Rodriguez right now. She's 37 years old. She's outside the top 5, so she's not likely to contend for the title again. They got to do something with her. So I get it. I don't like it, but I understand. You know, and or what's the words Chris Rock said like years ago. I'm talking like at least 20 years ago, more than that even. Probably like 15 years or like 25 years ago. Chris Rock had a really good special. He's like, I'm not saying I like it, but I understand. So yeah, I don't like this or agree with it, but I understand. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the matchup. I still think, no, before I get into that, I still think Rodriguez beats Lucindo. She's definitely more well-rounded of a striker. I mean, Lucindo doesn't throw straight punches. She just doesn't. Had Kowalkiewicz bothered to actually just throw some straight punches, she probably would have beat Lucindo. Because all Lucindo throws are looping punches. Very much a Brazilian stylist is she. So I still favor Rodriguez, who's a much more well-rounded striker. And has a nice height advantage too. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the bout in the comments. If you liked the vid, hit the thumbs up. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to Wmma Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.